What's going on, guys? Back again to bring you another DC related video. I have said many times on this channel that my favorite, and in my opinion, the greatest piece of DC entertainment, the best representation, the best iteration of DC overall as a whole, is the DCAU, the DC Animated Universe, which started in 1992 with the Batman the Animated Series. It is commonly referred to as the Bruce Timm Paul Dini universe, or the DC Animated Universe, or the DCAU. I'm talking about the shows Batman the Animated Series, The New Adventures of Batman, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited, Batman Beyond, and I think there's another one in there. Static Shock is considered part of it, and there's another one in there called the Zeta Project, although fuck the Zeta Project, no one gives a shit about it. Uh, but yeah, that is the last hope. I'm gonna say it like that. That is the last ray of hope that we have. It is the dwindling little flame in DC. Everything else about DC is just a fucking mess. Their TV, a fucking mess. Their movies, a fucking mess. Their comics, a fucking mess. Their animation, the final hope. Mainly because of two things. One, their new movie universe that they're creating with their animated movies is kind of showing some promise. I'm talking about Superman Man of Tomorrow, Justice Society World War II, and Batman Long Halloween. This new animated movie universe that they're starting shows some promise. And then I'm also the DCAU, the one we all grew up with as kids, Justice League Unlimited, and all of that. I was very, very happy to learn about 2 months ago that the DCAU, in its entirety, is continuing. Because not only is the Batman side of it continuing in the form of Batman The Adventures Continue, which is it's a comic book series published by DC, and it takes place right after the New Adventures of Batman. It's before Justice League, but after New Adventures of Batman. And so far, it's been really good, and people have been loving it. They also announced a new series, and I've talked about it before on this channel, which is Justice League Infinity. And this is the first issue of that. This comic book continues the story from the Justice League Unlimited TV show. We got Justice League Unlimited, and now Justice League Infinity. And yes, they are getting different artists to do the cover art. So if you look at this cover art and it's like, that doesn't look like the cartoon show I used to watch, you're right, it's not, because it's someone else doing the cover art. But inside the book, you can see, let's find a good picture here. The style is that of the old cartoons we used to watch, which is awesome. So this is it's not a spiritual successor, it's not a spiritual sequel. It is a canon, it is in fact a canon sequel to Justice League Unlimited. And so far in this single issue, it's really good. And it's teeing up some potential things that I'm really happy about. Before we go into it, let me talk about something I mentioned in a previous video. It's this thing I call the filter effect. Essentially what the filter effect is, it's that whenever an adaptation of something occurs, whether it's you're adapting a book into a movie, or you're adapting a book into a game, or a comic book into a TV show, it doesn't matter. Whenever an adaptation occurs, the people making the adaptation, they have the benefit of being able to go to the source material and cherry pick out of the source material all of the really good stuff, and then all of the pretty good stuff, and then taking all of the leftover shit stuff and throwing it in the trash. They have that benefit when they're making an adaptation. They take the source material, they put the source material through a filter, and the only thing that comes out the other side of the filter is the good shit. So in that scenario, we're looking at the main line of DC Comics that they publish. That's the source material for anything, whether it's a video, whether they're making a DC-based video game, TV show, movie, doesn't matter. Excuse me. the comic books, the mainline comic books, are the source material. So the way I look at it is that's the rough draft of DC. And then when we get stuff like this is, they've now taken the rough draft, they've submitted it for peer review and editing, they got it back with all these marks on it saying like, fix this, do that instead, change this, blah blah blah, correct that. And then they make all the edits and they take the shit out that needs to be taken out and they make the tweaks and adjustments, and then we get the final draft. And that's why the DCAU is so fucking good. It's because it's not a rough draft, it's a final draft of the DC, of the overall story of DC. That being said, they're teeing up events in this story that I'm interested in. Because if anyone's been paying attention to the channel, you know that I recently read Grant Morrison's The Multiversity, and I loved it. And I now am on board with the idea that the multiverse can work for DC and it can be used in a positive way as long as they remember that the multiverse is a setting, not the story itself. It's a setting of the story, it's not the story itself. Spoiler alert for this issue. I'm not going to reveal too much because I do want people to enjoy reading it if they want to check it out. I will spoil the ending though, because it involves what I want to talk about. At the end, Superman and Wonder Woman, and she knows that he's Clark Kent, they're having a nice dinner date in what looks to be her apartment, and all of a sudden, based on something else that happened earlier in the book, reality gets altered, and instead of it being Superman sitting with her, it's Overman. For those of you who don't know who Overman is, he's directly out of the Multiversity that I just recently read. He is a version of Superman that crash landed in Nazi Germany rather than Kansas and was raised by Adolf Hitler and eventually became the Führer, the Overman, who rules and because the Nazis had him on their side, they won World War II. It's an interesting take on Superman, and it's a cool idea, especially since that, like, at his core, him being because he is a Nazi, because he is a member of the Third Reich, he is a villain. He's a bad guy. When you read about him in the Multiversity, though, he had some depth to his character because at his core, he is still Superman. So he did all those horrible Nazi things because he was raised by Hitler to believe, like, this is what we need to do for the good of the human race and the human race's future. But it shows him in the Multiversity 60 years after the end of World War II, after the Nazis have won, Hitler is long dead, he's in charge, and he is starting to have doubts. He is starting to have regrets about all the atrocities he committed. He is starting to wonder if it was all really worth it. There is a part of him that is still Superman. It is an interesting character, and I am interested and somewhat glad that we're going to get to see a version of him put through the filter effect and adapted into the DCAU. Now, why am I worried about this? Well, it's one thing to bring just him in. But if we look here on this website, which is leagueofcomicgeeks.com, highly recommend you check this out. We go to the Justice League Infinity page, and down at the bottom it shows you the cover art of the first 4 issues. Only issue 1 is out right now. Issue 2, 3, and 4 are not out yet. 2 will be coming out soon. And you can see the cover art of issue 2 shows that you've got Overman on the front. We've got Superman and all the Justice League characters, and the synopsis is, across the globe, people begin disappearing, replaced with different but similar individuals. So where is Superman, and who is this new monstrous Overman? In order to get to the bottom of what's happening, the Justice League will need to first take down the new villain, and what horrors are revealed in the Twisted Mirror Room. So the Mirror Room is something I'm not going to get into. I'll leave that a little bit of a mystery for those who want to actually read this series. But we see that, yeah, okay, it's going to deal with Overman, and the Justice League are going to have to fight him. Superman's gone, by the way, so it's going to be Wonder Woman, Batman, Flash, Green Lantern, maybe Martian Manhunter, and some of the other Justice League members that have to take this guy down. Then we jump to issue 3, and this is where things are the most interesting, and this is where I get really worried. Before we even talk about the cover, As the worlds continue to bleed in and out of each other, worlds, plural, multiverse, the Justice League looks to the cosmos to learn how to stop the chaos that's been wrought. Meanwhile, Superman's journey through the multiverse brings him face to face with another Man of Steel, but is this one friend or foe? And we see the typical DCAU Justice League facing against this multiversal counterparts Justice League. And this could go really good or really bad, and I'm going to explain how. If this is not out yet, this issue is not out yet, it's not going to be coming out until September 7th, so we won't have an answer till then. There are two things that this could mean. One, which is the good way, the way I hope it is, they're taking, once again, they're taking source material, stuff from the source material, and they're putting it through the filter, and they're using it as they're including it in this adaptation. They are bringing this stuff, the multiverse stuff, into the DCAU. That's cool. Like I said, I read the Multiversity. I really liked it. I want more of that stuff. And if they put it through the filter effect and start including it in this adaptation, which is my favorite iteration of DC, I couldn't be happier. That's like best case scenario right there. What I'm fucking worried about is that this is going to be their dumbass attempt to connect the DCAU to the larger overall DC Comics universe, which does not need to be done for the love of all that is holy in this world. Like I said at the beginning of this video, let's go back here to this camera. Like I said at the beginning of this video, the DCAU is like our last little ray of hope for DC. If it goes down, fuck DC. I'm selling my toy collection. I'm selling my comics. I'm just keeping the Batman stuff. I will say fuck this shit. I'm always going to like Batman. I'm always going to like Batman. But the greater DC stuff, I will be done. If you take this perfect little self-contained version of DC that is the DCAU, and you contaminate it with the larger DC Comics universe, the mainline comics universe, stand the fuck by. You think Kevin Smith's getting ripped to shreds right now for his Masters of the Universe Revelation bullshit. You just fucking wait. If you ruin the DCAU by bridging it into the mainline DC Comics universe, we will fucking come for you, I promise. So, just if anyone, I understand that my channel is very small. I have under 200 subscribers. No one gives a shit what I say. But please, on just the complete 0.00001% chance that someone from DC is watching this and you have some kind of control, do not, if your plan is to bridge the DCAU and connect it to the greater DC Comics universe, the overall DC Comics universe, the main line, don't fucking do that. Don't do that. Let this last little self-contained beacon of light be just that. Don't ruin this by contaminating it and connecting it to this to the mainline DC universe. Don't do that. But other than that, that's the main reason I made this video. Is I needed to put that out there. I needed to say it in a public forum and just have it be out there for some people to hear. Don't fucking do that. Just let the DCAU be the DCAU. If you want to take aspects of the mainline DC Comics and adapt them into the DCAU, which is in and of itself a perfect overall adaptation of DC, great, do that. You can they've been doing that in Batman The Adventures Continue comic. They've brought Red Hood, Jason Todd into it. They've brought Deathstroke into it. They've brought the Court of Owls into it now, and it's working perfectly. Do not connect the DCAU to the larger DC Comics universe. Don't do it. That's the main reason I made this video. Other than just to say that, I will say that this is fantastic. I'm really glad that the DCAU is being continued in comic book form. I definitely believe that if between this book and the Batman the Adventures Continue book, if they continue to sell well and be popular, I definitely see in the future them, at the very least, they will start making more DCAU feature films again, and maybe even just bring back the DCAU overall in an animated cartoon. That, Lord knows, it's been off the air since 2006. There's a ton of new material that has been written since then that they can draw from and adapt to make new episodes of DCAU TV shows. So that's why I buy this. That's why I read this stuff. This and Batman the Adventures Continue. It's because, one, it's good. It's good stuff in and of itself. It's part of the DCAU. I love the DCAU. Two, if by buying this, I'm showing DC that, hey guys, this is your good shit. This is what we love. Focus on this. And maybe they will, and maybe it will grow, and maybe it will get bigger. So I cannot recommend that enough. However, I just do want to say one last time, do not connect the DCAU to the greater DC Comics universe. Don't fucking do that. Other than that, that's my take on Justice League Infinity #1. I loved it. It has promise, but I'm also worried. If you liked what you saw here, please hit the like button. Other than that, check out some of my other videos maybe. Subscribe to my channel if you like, and I will see you guys next time.